Well, I know today's Mother's Day, but allow me to just start off with a fun question for the men. So guys, have you ever been confronted by a statement like, I know I said I didn't need your help right now, but you should have understood from the circumstances that what I really meant was that I did really need your help right now. Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, men find statements like this super confusing because researchers have found that women's hearing and sight are simply better than men's at picking up facial expressions and social cues. And in fact, the hair cells that are inside a woman's inner ear vibrate more intensely than they do in men, such that they can pick up slight vocal fluctuations that men's brains literally just cannot register. Yeah, right? Things are starting to make a little bit more sense now, huh? Which means that, sometimes women may be trying to throw out some social cues that men literally cannot hear. And what is more, for the women this time, maybe you've had the experience of trying to talk to a man while he's reading, and he seems to be practically deaf. Well, it turns out that if you scan a man's brain while he's very focused on intently doing a specific task, like reading, he is literally practically deaf. And that's because, whereas women's brains are better shaped for multitasking, men's are better shaped for, and have this unique ability to be able to tune out ambient noise. Not to tune out their brides, of course, but so that they have this gift of being able to focus more intently on the task that is in front of them. Well, why do I share all of this? Well, because Jason Evert points out, as he points out in his newest book, which is really impressive, the 6,500 sex-specific genes that make men's and women's bodies different all point and are focused on one specific thing, that is making men fathers and women mothers. Not just in the sense of the act of reproduction, but also in the full sense of vocation. So let's just take a step back here for a moment. The beautiful thing about having a creator is that it means that our bodies are meaningful, not meaningless. And we can see this very intuitively. It's the simple principle that form follows function. And we can see this with other created things, right? Porsches are made to be really fast, and trucks are designed to be very strong. Their form follows their function. Well, if we too, like sports cars and like trucks, are created and designed, then it means that our bodies matter. Our bodies are good. The difference between men and women have a reason. This then is the beautiful truth, that men and women are two different incarnations of humanity. They're two unique ways of imaging God in the flesh. Since we are created, our bodies matter. They are good. And for instance, they have this unique capacity to be able to make what is invisible visible. So just think about it for a moment. Can anyone here see another person's soul? No? Unless you're like Padre Pio or something like that, right? No. Can you see the love that is in another person's heart? Not unless you see it in their bodies. embodied by their actions or their expressions or their words. We can know somebody is troubled in their soul by the expression in their face, by the inflection of their voice. Our actions, expressions, and words are an incarnation and embodiment of the person. Hence why Jesus would say, "If you love me, keep my commandments." Our souls are shown by what we do with our bodies, just as much as what we do with our bodies affects our soul. We cannot separate the two because we are both. And you know what the separation of a soul from a body is? Right? That's death. That's the result of original sin. That's not what we were created for. So even if our bodies be broken or seem to have a mind of their own sometimes when they're, inviting us to eat an entire sleeve of Oreos in a single sitting, we can confidently affirm that they are good because they don't just embody us. They also can embody the very image of God. Now, because our bodies aren't just arbitrarily made, but intentionally created in order to image God, our bodies can actually teach us many things. So first and foremost, seeing as today is Mother's Day, they teach us that being a mother, or being a father for that matter, is not dependent upon our personalities. Some mothers are extremely organized, others easygoing. Some are reflective, or some wear their emotions on their sleeves. Do these differences make them any less of a mother? No, of course not. As St. Therese pointed out, if every flower wanted to be a rose, then nature would lose its springtime beauty. Yet, only women can produce female gametes and only men produce male gametes. Thus, women aren't female personalities with any body, but female bodies with any personality. We love all of our mothers because they have given us the gift of life. And that leads us to the second thing that our bodies teach us. We were created out of love. We come from another. Our belly buttons are proof of this, right? God intended that we know that we were created out of love by having us conceived and grown right beneath our mother's hearts. Our mothers make that invisible truth visible. We come from love. Which leads us to a third truth that we can read in our bodies. Not only do we come from love, but we are created for love. We're made for communion. We are incomplete alone. And so it's clear just looking at our bodies that we were created not just for any kind of love, but indeed for the kind of life-giving and selfless love that we encounter between husbands and wives, mothers and fathers. And now with that being said, right, you might just be like, yeah, Father James, but you're celibate, so like, how are you saying that, right? Well, notice that what do we call priests? Father. And what do we call sisters, like Mother Teresa? Mother. Because motherhood, and fatherhood for that matter, are not just about reproduction, although our bodies point us to the sign of what motherhood and fatherhood are all about. St. Edith Stein put it this way: a woman's soul is designed to be a shelter in which other souls may unfold. All women can fulfill their vocation to motherhood when their lives become like the womb, where the most vulnerable among us can receive the nurture and the nourishment, the love and the care that they deserve. Certainly then, women who are celibate or women who are not married or who face that great cross of infertility can nevertheless share the gift of their motherhood in so many beautiful and fruitful ways. We are all made for fruitful, selfless love. Hence why Jesus constantly refers to himself as the bridegroom, and we, the church, his bride. Why God refers to himself as Father, and the church as mother. Because we, men and women, whether celibate or married, were created to embody the full and faithful and fruitful and free and selfless love that is not just any love, but it is the love of the Trinity, the love of God, the love between God and his people. As St. John Paul II put it, we become fully ourselves to the extent that we give ourselves away freely as a gift. Or as the Second Vatican Council put it, we cannot fully find ourselves except through a sincere gift of ourselves. Or, of course, as Jesus himself put it, love one another as I have loved you. Because how did Jesus love us? This is my body given for you. And in a very beautiful way, we can see this in our bodies, both in fathers and, of course, in mothers. For instance, what do we see when we see a pregnant mother? And perhaps nauseous and, a little uncomfortable for having carried another human person within themselves for 9 solid months. Well, this is my body given for you. What do we see with the nursing mother? This is my body given for you. Even when a woman has to give birth through a C-section, last time I checked, what do? Well, they have the mother lie down on her back with her arms spread out in the shape of a cross, which is fitting, because it's as if to say, this is my body given for you. Our bodies are good. They are full of meaning. And so we thank God for our mothers today, for all of the ways in which they have shown us that we are made to be a gift, because they are a gift to us, just as much as we are a gift to them. Amen.